This is Chuck Fresh, the PCGYN, and this is Computer Care Clinic's Tip of the Day. Today we're going to talk about tablet computing, and we'll give you a brief introduction to find out what it's all about and whether a tablet computer is right for you. So first of all, what is a tablet? Essentially, it's a laptop merged with a smartphone, but it has less features than the laptop. There's no keyboard, no mouse, no CD, no DVD, no Ethernet port, no external storage, no this, no that. The screens are tiny. You can only get up to about a 10-inch screen. So if you're visually impaired, you may want to think twice about a tablet computer. Hopefully they'll come up with larger screens in the future, but right now about 10.1 inches is as large as it goes. It's a flat screen. Think of it of a laptop screen, but a small laptop screen with a touch interface. There's no keyboard that comes standard with any of these tablets. And it runs something called apps instead of programs. So all the programs you've already bought, might as well throw those in a shoebox in the garage because you won't be able to use them on your tablet. So what can you do with a tablet? You can read books. You can stream music and movies from Pandora and Netflix. You can view online photographs on sites such as Picasso or Facebook. You can surf the internet, do research before you buy something, or look up your family ancestry. You can social network using Facebook, or if anyone still uses MySpace, and YouTube. You can check your email. Most of the attachments are now viewable, although there are some things that are only viewable on a PC. But for the most part, most email and their attachments are completely usable on a tablet PC. You can play games via the apps we're talking about, and we'll go into in a little bit more flavor later. And you can also video chat with most tablets. You can use Skype or Uvu or any one of the messenger programs and view live video of people who are not in your area, friends or relatives who are in other states or even other countries in different parts of the world. So those are all the things you can do with a tablet. But let's talk about what you can't do with a tablet. If you're a typist, you're going to have a pickle of a time typing on this thing. You can't do any real typing without completely retraining yourself to type on a non-tactile keyboard. You're going to be typing on the screen itself, on a flat, non-elevated surface. So people who have learned to type 60, 70 words a minute on a conventional typewriter are going to have to teach themselves all over again. Some people have gotten pretty good at it. A lot of teens can do it, but it will take a little bit of training. You can't print normally. There are some e-printers, which are the latest versions of printers, but the printer companies haven't really embraced the tablet PCs. I think they're kind of in a wait-and-see mode to see if they're going to take off. But I would imagine within the next year or two, you'll begin to see more print solutions custom tailored to tablet PCs. But right now, there's not many at all. It's very difficult to print. Working with real spreadsheets seems to be a problem in terms of editing cells, formatting, and actually entering numbers. There are no number keypads unless you buy an app for a tablet PC or an external device connected via Bluetooth. You can't play CDs or DVDs either externally, and of course they're so thin there's nowhere to put a CD or a DVD. Essentially, these two devices are becoming obsolete with the advent of streaming video and music and also downloadable software. So make sure you transfer your CDs and DVDs to some sort of digital format, and Computer Care Clinic does that. Decided to throw in that plug. Let us know if you need help with that. Importing or archiving photos from your digital camera will be a problem for the foreseeable future because there's nowhere to put these in the tablet. There are no standard SD-sized ports, and there's not many adapters that will let you put things into the tablets, and the storage size isn't that much either, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. So that could be an issue for you. You'll still need a computer to transfer, edit, or archive your digital photos from your camera. In digital editing, these tablet computers don't have a whole lot of horsepower. They're trying to maximize the battery life, so we sacrificed space, and we've also sacrificed ventilation, and also the processor speed. We had to tweak those down a little bit so that the battery will last longer, and it does a very good job with battery life. And the last thing you can't do with a tablet PC is use some web-based games and applications, especially those using the Flash application. And Apple doesn't support Flash at all. There is limited support in the Android devices, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So that's what you can't do with a tablet PC. So what are your options? You've decided you're going to give it a whirl. So you're going to have to make a few decisions. You're going to have to decide if you want Google's Android operating system, which is a free open source system featuring right now ice cream sandwich or jelly bean. No, that's not a joke. They decided to name their operating systems after high fructose corn syrup flavored desserts. And the other option, the main option, is Apple's iOS right now at version 6. They've just upgraded from 5 recently. Kindle and Nook also run a version of Google's Android operating system. They've tweaked it a little bit so it works better with their devices. And Windows 8 is right around the corner and probably out now. And that's a whole new tablet operating system made by the good folks at Microsoft. They're trying to integrate, as Apple is trying to do, their desktop and laptop operating systems with the tablet devices. So make it all one big happy family. And to a smaller extent, a very small piece of the market share goes to BlackBerry, who's also playing around with some tablet devices too. So more options. You can get a 9 or 10-inch tablet, which are considered the large or normal size tablets at this time. Or there's a mini tablet in the 7-inch variety. Or if you can use a smaller device and you'd rather carry something that's portable, fit in your pocket or purse easily, has all the tablet functionality, and is also a phone, you can choose an Android smartphone, an Apple smartphone, a Windows smartphone, or a BlackBerry smartphone. And essentially you will get all the tablet applications and functionality in your phone, although the screen's a little difficult to see for some people. For some people it works out real well. Now, the most popular through the current date anyway is Apple's iOS operating system software. There's only one vendor who makes this, and that's the folks at Apple. So that means they're going to be more pricey. There's no competition. There's no incentive to build a better or different device because Apple won't let it out of their stall. So you're going to have to pay for that. Most of the popular apps are available on Apple's iTunes store, including Facebook, YouTube, Angry Birds if you're into that kind of thing, and all kinds of games. All available in Apple's iOS. The apps are priced from free all the way through $100 or more for some specialized business applications. Apple's iOS does sport a very simple interface, and meaning that Apple has taken great pains to make sure that your experience is the same as your neighbors and the guys down the street and the guy in China. Your interface is going to very much be similar to theirs because they allow very little customization. Apple doesn't allow widgets. Widgets are real neat apps or programs that can display things like time and weather and news feeds and calendars that we use on ours, which are very helpful. You don't have to click an icon. It actually appears full screen on your device. So Apple does not support these. Maybe they will in the future. But right now you can only get apps with Google devices. Flash. Adobe Flash is not supported and never will be supported on any Apple mobile device. And that seemed to be some sort of personality battle between Steve Jobs and the folks at Adobe, but maybe that'll change too. Although Flash is slated to go away by 2015 and be replaced with HTML5, but we'll see how that pans out. And Apple's new Map application, or app, is, you may have heard about it in the news, is lackluster and needs a bunch of work. And they've just got rid of Google's application, but I understand Google may be working on a Maps app that you can download and run on Apple's iOS. So don't rely on Apple's Map application at the current time. Now, Apple's iOS is only available on the Apple iPhone and the Apple iPad 3, which they didn't name the 3, they just call it the iPad. Again, they have some strange naming conventions there, too. So before you laugh at ice cream sandwich, let's talk about Apple. Now, it'll run iOS 5 or 6. Most of the new ones will ship with 6, which has some new bells and whistles, including Siri in the latest one, which is that talking, crazy, annoying voice that will handle some of your voice commands and transcribe some of your dictation. Cost of an iPad they're pretty pricey again because there's no competition, $499 to $829 depending on your size, the size of your storage, that is. They're all 9.7 inches. And your apps obviously will be extra for the non-free applications that you do decide to purchase. You can get them in 16, 32, and 64 gigabytes in terms of internal storage. They all have a 9.7 diagonal screen, although there's some rumors about a mini iPad 7-inch coming out soon. We haven't seen that yet. There are no external ports for video or storage on an iPad. Apple wants to keep that closed little shop, that walled garden, so to speak. So They essentially say you have an iPad, and this is what you get, and this is all you need. There's no need to plug anything else into it or any other kind of horseplay. This is your Apple iPad, and this is all you need. You will require an Apple iTunes account to buy anything on the iTunes store, such as applications and downloads, and actually connect to the update service. And again, it's a walled garden. You can only use Apple accessories for the foreseeable future, although there are third-party accessories that have weaseled their way in there. But there's some questions about warranty and other situations. They don't guarantee that it will work with it. But some other companies have wiggled their way in and figured out how to make accessories for the iPad. So that's Apple's iPad. On the other side, in terms of operating systems, you have Google's Android. Now, there are several manufacturers, since it's a more open system. You have Asus, you have big players like Lenovo and Samsung who are making devices for Google's Android system. Again, several manufacturers means competition, so your Android device is going to be less expensive. All the same applications that are available on Apple's iOS are now available on Android, including Pinterest, Facebook, YouTube, maps, calendars, news applications, magazines, books, anything you can dream of. They're the same and very similar on both devices on Google's Android and iOS. Apps are priced, again, from free to $100, similar to the Apple Store. You have a customizable interface on the Android, which you don't have on Apple's iOS. Now, Apple wants to keep everything looking similar and in tune and very easy, because apparently they assume that most people don't want any customization. But Android's saying, you know what, you can use our plain Jane out-of-the-box interface, or you can customize it any way you want with widgets and move applications and change your wallpaper and do all kinds of things you can't do on an iOS device. Again, widgets are supported, which are real neat, and we'll show you a couple of those. And Flash is supported on most Android devices, too, so you can play many of the games and watch many of the videos and see much of the functionality that the web has to offer that you can't see on an iOS device. The most popular Android device right now is Samsung's Galaxy Tab series. Right now they're up to version 2. It runs Ice Cream Sandwich, which is Android 4.0. The cost runs anywhere from $199 to $629. That depends on your storage and your connectivity through AT&T or Verizon. You can get one of those things, but the lowest price 7-inch is $199 to $249, depending if you can catch it on sale. They're available in two sizes, the mini 7-inch or a big 10.1-inch screen, which is one of the more large tablets on the market right now. You can get them in 16 or 32 gigabytes, but that's not an issue with the Galaxy because it has a micro SD removable storage. You can put a micro SD card in there up to 64 gigabytes, and you can swap those out, affording you virtually unlimited storage. It also has an HDMI out, so you can play your streaming movies on an HDMI TV of up to 100 inches, which you can't do on an iOS device. It also has a micro USB, which is a new industry standard for charging and computer connectivity that Apple uses, a proprietary thing that you can't use on anything but Apple devices. And you will require a Google account to make any purchases in terms of apps and doing updates on an Android device. Galaxy just came out with the new Galaxy Note, which is a 10.1-inch version of the Tab, except you can draw on this thing. It actually comes with a stylus. Costs a little bit more, $500 to $550 plus your apps. Available in 16 or 32 gigabytes, still connectable to an HDMI TV, and it has the micro SD removable slot, and you do need a Google account to use the Samsung Galaxy Note. There is actually a smaller version of the Note, which is a phone, which is about a 5-inch screen, which is also a tablet and a phone that does come with a stylus also. So if you like to draw things and be creative and edit photos, this may be the choice for you. Google came out with something a few months ago called the Nexus 7. And right now, this is the only device that runs Android 4.1, which is known as Jelly Bean, the latest and greatest versions of the Android operating system. Because Google designed and engineered this device, they were the first one to get it. So the cost is anywhere from $200 to $250, very, very affordable, plus your apps. It comes with a 7-inch screen right now. Storage is relatively small, 8 to 16 gigabytes, and there's no removable SD card or micro SD card on this device. They invite you to use Google's Cloud if you want to store things there. And also Samsung has one, and Google has one, and Apple's iOS also has a cloud, but they're subscription paid services, so you can store your information on their servers and access them via the internet. And you do require a Google account to use a Nexus 7. Amazon just updated their Kindle Fire with the Kindle Fire HD, and we've been fooling around with this for a few days, and very, very impressed with it. It runs a flavor of Android that's been customized for the Amazon device, which allows you to read books, but you can still also download paid applications and free applications for games, for Netflix streaming, for Pandora, and thousands of other applications that you could use on any other device, including an iOS device or any Android device. It comes in a 7 or 9.7-inch diagonal screen, and storage options are 16, 32, or 64 gigabytes. It also has an HDMI out, so you could stream movies and videos from Amazon Store or Netflix onto a large HDMI-supported screen TV. It also has the micro USB adapter that most Android devices use. And the charger is not included, which I thought was interesting. You'll have to pay another $10 for the wall charger. Otherwise, you can hook up that micro USB cable, which is included to a computer, but it charges painfully slowly. And you do require an Amazon account to run the Amazon Kindle Fire. You don't need a Google account to run this device, but you can have one. It is Google compatible. And the next page, we'll look at a comparison which talks about display clarity, sound. Sound is amazing on the Kindle Fire HD device. I just thought I'd mention that. It's very, very loud, louder than you'd expect from that size of a device. Mind blown. The other ones are kind of tinny, including the iPad, but the Amazon Kindle Fire HD does a real nice job with sound. All of them do have headphone jacks, so you can plug in your favorite set of headphones and enjoy that theater quality sound. And here's a little bit more information on them. They all have very similar battery life, very, very similar. Basically, the decision comes down to, do you want the easy, non-changeable interface of iOS, or do you want to spend a few $100 less and get yourself an Android device and muddle through that? So, which also is very easy, but it's more customizable as you learn and become more comfortable with the Android operating system. So that's it. That's our tablet comparison. My name is Chuck Fresh with Computer Care Clinic. More tips, tricks, and information on our website at computercareclinic.com, our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/computercareclinic, and also we have a YouTube channel, so check that out too. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you the next time.